Hello and good evening, and welcome to the Smart Investing Show. It is March the 22nd. Thank you for joining us. My name is Alton Brooks. Tonight, it's all about business, and we're going to be in discussions about the challenges of small business, especially now, a year after we've been hit with one of the worst pandemics in our lifetime. Many businesses are really feeling the hurt right now. Earlier today, I was reading a few businesses actually having gone under. Some are really struggling to pay their bills. Of course, that has a trickling effect of suppliers being hit and potential employees not being paid. So there's a lot of hurt going on and will be happening due to this severe constraint of business. So tonight, we have an expert in the house to help us navigate this area and to hopefully give us some strategies and ideas and suggestions on how we can help either protect or insulate ourselves, or how we can move forward in a way that can make us successful. So this evening, we have joining us Celia Meikle from GMS Professional Corporation. She is a partner at this accounting firm, and she'll be sharing some of her experience and expertise with us this evening. I'd just like to welcome Celia to the show.
Thank you.
Welcome. Now, just to give our audience an idea of who you are, can you tell us a little bit about the areas of practice that you currently do? I know that you are an internationally experienced individual. You've worked in various entities and areas, and you're also a fellow as well of a particular institution. So just share with us a little bit of your background.
Okay, so thank you so much for having me on your program. And I am, as you said, internationally trained accountant. Um, can you hear me?
I
I
can hear
think
you
I
very
told.
well.
Okay, all right. So I am an internationally trained accountant. Was trained in the U.S. As a U.S. CPA, and then came to Canada. And once I came to Canada, I did the Canadian CPA, and I'm trained in Canada. Worked with PwC Jamaica and Scotiabank Jamaica at senior levels, and then came to Canada and also worked in the banking sector and PwC Canada in senior levels until I left and went along with my business partner Ken to open up GMS Professional Corporation. And
Excellent.
we service, my practice area is really the not-for-profit sector. That's who I focus on, the not-for-profit charitable sector. I do have corporations, but by and large, my practice is leaning towards that.
Right, and you do have the word professional in your company name, so that can mean a couple things. I'm sure that also means you have companies that are of the professional, like doctors, lawyers, engineers. Is that
Yes,
correct?
yes, but that is mostly my business partner. He focuses on that
Okay,
aspect. I do have those within my portfolio, but
right.
he focuses most
For
on this.
sure. GMS has different segments, and you specialize in certain areas.
Yes,
For
yes,
sure.
yes,
Okay.
yes,
Well, another reason of
absolutely.
having a professional in your name is the fact that you have to be a professional. And however
That's
you
correct.
do, whatever you do, whether it's auditing or whether it's just being straight accounting, overseeing for your customers, they are trusting in you. So
That's
tonight,
right.
our viewers are tuning in to trust in what you have to say to them, because we need to get some answers. And I've got a few questions for you, and we'll go through them as we conversate this evening. One of them
Okay.
is this, that over the last year, the government has come out with many programs. You know, there's the
Hmm.
emergency business account, there's the rent subsidy that you can apply for. Speaking to many of the business people that I know, many of them are not taking advantage of some of these programs that are out there, which to me are just very easy fruits to help your business. So tell us how we can encourage or get some more businesses to take advantage of some of the current programs that are out there for them.
Okay, so you're absolutely correct, and especially those within our Black community sector, our Black community, they really have not been taking advantage as much as possible of the programs. Everybody takes a serve, right? Because that was straight and easy, and very, very low hanging fruit. However, when it comes to the business, um, they were either not fully informed about what they could take, and some of them, when they became informed, realized that they were not qualified, and that is because of steps that they have been taking previously in terms of not having their books up to date, not having their records up to date. Many people, for example, they didn't have a payroll account,
Wow.
and then they would want to, and so because of that, missed out, because in the earliest start, when these programs had just started, they were much more lenient, and then as the time progressed, they became harder to qualify, right? And so this is what has happened. So in addition to that, I mean, they need to talk to, so one is not knowing, right?
Right.
And so they need to educate themselves, talk to other business owners, talk to hear what they're getting, right? Talk to your next door neighbor at in the plaza that your business is. See, what are they doing? How are they faring? Um, Reach out to your accountant and your banker or your financial advisor, because they will know generally what's happening out there, right? And can guide you to what it is, point you to the available resources. But the key thing that I found when persons came to me was that they did not have their underlying data in form, right? So therefore, things like when they wanted to know if your revenue went up or down, you know, they had no idea because they weren't keeping their records,
But now
right?
it has been made a little bit easier, I imagine. Some of that paperwork has been sort of, it's easier to navigate through now.
Not for the no, not for the business.
Okay.
You still have to, they do everything based on your revenue. Now, some people may go in and just say, yes, your revenue is this or that. But in the fall, when everything has been settled off, there will be audits, and you will have to have the supporting documentation to show what it is that how you said you qualified.
But I
So
imagine that everyone has accountants. Would their
no,
accountants not be advising them of this?
well, yes, I mean, if you have good accountants, then yeah, they would be advising you of it. But also, to be fair, accountants have been insanely busy, right? Insanely busy now with all of this, and not necessarily busy with paid work, right?
Right.
Honestly, it is a lot of um, it, we have to be a sounding board, trying to see how advise them of things that's available to them, even though they don't realize it. Help them to get those that are just very, very, very low hanging fruit. You know. So yeah, so some people have accountants, and they're accountants and they're accountants, right? I mean, you get what you pay for.
Right. Okay. That's fair. Another thing I'm noticing within our community, within lots of other communities, especially when it comes to small business, because most of the businesses across Canada are classified as small business from
Mm-hmm.
1 to 10 employees, is where there's this, what I call founder dependence, where the business is just totally dependent on the person that started it. What are some of the things that owners can do to take themselves out of the equation so they can then start looking forward and strategizing about their business versus being involved in the day-to-day 9 to 5 and not looking out? Because now is a situation where you need to look forward and figure out how you can survive this pandemic and move your business forward. But if you're stuck being in the everyday of it, that doesn't give you the vision you need. So what are some of the things that they can do to help themselves so they can also, keep their longevity?
Mm-hmm. So also, you touched on such a really good point, right? Because founder dependent. I've never heard it called in that manner, and I will actually steal it. It's very
Yes,
nice.
I should
It's a
trademark it.
founder dependent. And that is true. I had that. I still have that even to today. I actually had someone text me and say to me that they want me in particular to do their tax return, not somebody else. And so, one of the things that you have to do, one of the first things you have to do, is recognize that if you want to build a business, you have to step away and work on building that business, as opposed to working in the business. So to the start, in the start, yes, you are going to have to work in the business because you have to understand the trenches, you have to understand your customers, your base,
For sure.
everything, like set the foundation. But you must critically set up systems and processes and document them. So, for example, for us, we have an operations policy manual, procedures manual for every administrative task that we do at GMS,
Right.
right? Yep. Everything. If you want to see how to send a fax, it's there. If you wanted to see how we use MailChimp, it's there. Everything. It's in that operating procedures manual because um, people need to know what to do and how the systems have been set up. So that's one thing. So set up your systems and processes and document them
Right.
because you just hand over the manual to somebody else and say, okay, here it is. The process is in there, right? So you can go on. I don't have to be the one to send the fax,
Correct.
right? It's all there. Um, you as a founder, you need to delegate but not abdicate. So you delegate, but you don't just leave it alone,
Right.
right? So that's a key thing, and to be able to find that fine tune, you have to trust your staff and their capabilities. There is no two ways about that because that's the only way you're going to delegate. And because of that, then you're going to make sure that you hire the right people. You're going to make sure that you take care of your staff because if you take care of your staff, they will
Right.
take care of your clients and take care of you. That is fundamental,
It sounds like
right?
a lot of work. Is this why a lot of owners don't do this?
I don't know, but for me, it's not a lot of work. I mean, it is work, but if you understand, then you have to understand the mindset, right? Are you in this to build a business, or are you in this just to be self-employed? Because if it is, then it's two different,
Right.
two different approaches. If you're just in it to be self-employed as opposed to be building a business, right? And when we say you take care of your staff, it's not just money, right? I mean, there are other things. There's training, there is time off. So, for example, at GMS, I mean, I have to use GMS because that's what I know. Like, um, from the get go, anybody who is hired with us from the get go, you get 4 weeks vacation
Oh my
because we work
goodness.
hard. So
I
you get
think I'm going to sharpen my resume. I need to come apply.
and in the summer, no, we work hard. So in the summer, we get Fridays off,
Wow, that's
right?
excellent.
Yeah, so we and that also happens in some of the bigger accounting firms. That's where we got that practice from, right?
Right.
So take care of your staff, and also a key thing is that you need to let your clients understand that your staff are capable, right? So that they understand that it doesn't have to be you. Like I
Right.
can't do it all,
If they're
right?
calling for you all the
So
time, your staff won't be maximized.
exactly. So you have to do that. So like for me, I insist that my staff put their letters, their designations behind their name, whether
Right.
or not it's a Canadian or from somewhere else. If it's from somewhere else, they just put in brackets Nigeria or wherever if it's going to be confused with the Canadian
Okay.
designation.
Well, I guess
And so that people understand.
for tonight,
Yeah.
I'm Alton Brooks, economist. So there you go.
Yes.
Let's talk about access to capital and funding, because that's also
Mhm.
another area where, in the past, many of us or many business owners might have applied, they might have been turned down, or they might have been given higher rates versus what other folks might be getting. How do you see that going in the future? And is it something that you see continuing, or is the playing field going to be somewhat leveled when it comes to that, do you think?
I think the playing field is going to become, I don't know if it's going to be level, but for sure, I think we are going to be experiencing what the US had years and years and years ago. What they call it, equal. I can't remember what's the word that they call it, but to level the playing field, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and because of that, and so put in specific programs and things to benefit the Black community. So for example, I believe it's going to become positive as we go forward, because there are more avenues that are now geared specifically towards us. So
Right.
for example, there's the Black Entrepreneurship Fund that is a partnership with the banks and the government.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look on CIBC's website now, you can get information and you can register, so that once the funding is open, you'll be first dibs in these things. And what I found is it's better to get in there first, because usually things are more lenient, and
Right.
you get first mover advantage. And so I signed up with them. They
Okay.
have loans up to $250,000 specifically for the Black entrepreneur. So that's one. You're going to have the Black Opportunity Fund that
Mm-hmm.
was just launched with, they got $1 million to start, I think, from National Bank, and
Right.
they are going to be gearing towards not for profit. So this is key when we talk about working on the business and not in the business.
Mm-hmm.
Business owners need to be focused on what can they do, how can they access funding, what can they do to drive the business, fill the pipeline. You cannot be sitting there making coffee, me doing tax returns, me doing audits. You can't. You've got to go out, because, as you said, small businesses are the engine. We employ so many people in Canada. So we have to go out there to secure it.
And one of the things too, when it comes to being distracted, with the owner being distracted, are when you have challenges with cash flow, for instance. You know, you may
Mm-hmm.
end up spending, just spending, 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 and not really taking the time to figure out, are you spending on things that you actually need or not? What are some things you can suggest for someone who is just
Adventure. A business, or do you just want to be self-employed? Because it's two different things, right?
mm-hmm,
If you
mm-hmm,
just want to be self-employed, then yeah, you're going to spend everything you make, right? Because all it is that you just don't want to work for somebody else. So you do your thing. You're in your basement and you just do your thing, and you, whatever money you make, you spend it, right? You
mm-hmm,
don't
mm-hmm.
really care. However, if you're building a business, right, you're building something beyond you. You have to, how do you think these big businesses started? How do you think Amazon started? It started in their garage, right? But then they build systems. Then they recognize that the business has to survive beyond them,
Mm-hmm.
right? So you have to do things that will preserve and build your capital, right? So you can't just be, so you have to budget, right? You have to monitor your budget to actual. You
Mm-hmm.
have to forecast. You have to do industry comparisons. All the things that you see the big businesses do,
Right.
you can do it on a micro scale,
Mm.
right? They when I worked in the bank, I used to do 8 forecasts for the year, and I'm sure they still do it. You do it before the quarter end,
Right.
right? Because you have your 4 quarters, so you do it before quarter end, and to project, to tell them, okay, this is what I think it's going to be. And then after quarter end, when you get your actuals, you project again.
Oh wow. Okay.
And you do that 8 times. Plus, on top
Eight
of that, you do
times.
an annual budget.
Wow.
Yeah.
That
So
will
it's
definitely
because
keep you
it's
on track.
critical. Huh?
That will definitely keep you on track.
Yeah. So those are some of the things that you have to do. I mean, as a business owner, you have to make sure, which is why you have to make sure that your records are up to date, so that you can look at them and make decisions,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's all, because there's no other way that you'll be able to manage your business and see what's going on in your account, and see where you're spending too much, how you can cut back, how you can manage your cash flow. What are your upcoming expenses? What can you, like, when Ken and I sat down, we realized that some things we're paying for twice. He has one subscription for
Mm-hmm.
something, doing the exact same thing I'm doing a subscription for.
Right.
So then we have to sit down and say, okay, all right, let's rationalize. which one,
Makes
right?
sense.
So those are some of the things. So you have to, it depends on what you're doing. What are you building a business or are you self-employed? And if you're building a business, then you have to, it takes discipline and you have to do it. There's just no, I
You're
don't
right.
know.
There's no way around it. You just have to just do what you have to do, as they say. Now, before we take a break, just one last question for you. I was reading a study by Intuit Canada that 83% of businesses have a serious financial literacy skills problem. But we all know that when you're starting a business, you need to be serious about your finances and you need to know what you're doing. So
Hmm.
if there's a serious skills gap with those starting a business, and you need those skills when running a business, how do we bridge that gap? Because you need that understanding in order to be successful.
Yeah. I just wanted to say one thing, Alton. Just in your former question about cash flow, just
Hmm.
one thing I want to remind people is that um, if you can access as much lending as you can, even if you never use it. I
Hmm.
have clients who have $1 million or more in lending operating lines and they
Right.
don't use it. So get as much
Build your
as you
credit.
can, build your credit so
Hmm.
that you have it there in times when you don't need it.
For
So
sure.
that when you need it, you are able to draw on it. So that was one thing I wanted to say
Thank you for
in
that.
terms of the financial literacy. So once you take yourself out of working in the business in the weeds, right? You
Hmm.
will realize that out in the formal space, there is a lot of um, business accelerator programs and training opportunities geared specifically to business owners, and specifically many of them are also to minority owned
Okay.
business owners. Like I myself was able to get onto a program last year or 2 years ago, an international program, and had lots of other women on there. And it is from those programs that one key thing that I came away with from that program and implemented it right thereafter was to get myself an assistant to stop doing the day-to-day
Right.
admin tasks, right? And that has paid off big time for me, right? So get it once you get out of the business,
Hmm.
right? You will see lots of these things are there. And once you get into one, you will get into the other
Hmm.
and the other and the other. Because right now I have one on my desk that I'm about to complete. It's for female foundry. And for example, I got to know of that through BDC,
Right.
sorry, right? So you have to get out there and
Hmm.
get the information because it's out there.
For sure. Well, I appreciate that. And we will continue after these messages with Miss Michael.
Mm,
And the information so far has been stellar. We have certainly learned a lot. And we will continue after these messages.
thank
You
you.
can officially download our free GBKM app from the App Store and the Google Play Store. Okay, now what is the best thing about this app? Well, it is that you have all of the features from the website that is portable in your hand, ready to use and ready to go. Now I'm just gonna guide you through what we have available on our app right now. So here, this is the page where you can watch our live TV, our GBCam TV. You can watch live, enjoy the shows live. Now, if you go to our tabs, you can check out any shows you missed in the past shows tab, and that takes you to the past shows that have happened in the last week. And if you just scroll down, you can see those past shows in order, chronological order with their dates next to them as well. So if you've missed a show, no worries, just go to the past show tab and you can catch up on your favorite GBKM entertainment. Going back to our menus tab again, you can check out our upcoming shows so you do not miss any past shows. You can check out our breaking news section, which is our newest section as well, to learn of any breaking news within the diaspora, across the globe, all of that good stuff, so you can stay engaged and up to date on what's going on with our breaking news tab on the GBKM app, and also available on the website. And as you can see, there are other tabs there. You can listen to our live radio, our live TV. You can learn more about our on-air personalities by going to our OAP tab, all of that good stuff. You can
Welcome back to the Smart Investing Show with Alton Brooks. We have a terrific conversation going tonight on the GBKM network. If you don't have the app, it's the GBKM app on iOS or on any other apps that you might have, such as Android and others. You can join us at gbkm.tv. Or if you're driving or prefer the radio, it's gbkm.fm for those FM lovers. So thank you for coming back with us. We appreciate that. We're in conversation with Celia Mikkel. She is a partner at GMS Professional Corporation. And they are, just as in the name, very professional in what they do. And tonight we're getting some professional answers on a lot of the issues affecting some of our small businesses. And hopefully you can watch the replay if there's something that you've missed that you'd like to go over once again. So let's continue with Celia. So I just want to know just offhand, a lot of mental health issues have been happening over the last year due to the impact of the COVID situation on businesses. How do you cope? How do you keep your sanity? Because I'm sure there's a lot of stress and pressure on you to do more, maybe for the same price. You're working harder, more pressures on you. How do you manage and keep everything in order?
Well, honestly, it has been a challenge because it's not just work, right? I have a family, I have a husband, I have boys, right? So even though they're older, but one is 20, one is 16, but they're still looking to you, right? And so honestly, I've had no other source but the Lord Jesus. I'm
Okay.
telling you because I had very serious family challenges during this time, and only the Lord was able to take us through it, in addition to the pandemic as well. And I had to learn to reprioritize, right? And put, because for me, it was, and I'm still trying to unwind, it was work, then God, then family, then church. That was
Right.
my priority. But I had to refocus to God, family, church, and work, right?
Okay.
And I'm still working through that process. Um, I've jealously guarded my meditation time in the morning where I do my prayer and devotion. And I've reached out and communicated with people who are important to me.
Right.
Um, in terms of my clients, those who, and there are other strategies. I mean, for me, at work. For my clients and other friends who are also Christians, yes, they'll do that. And people who are not as well. I mean, we have other avenues, the regular avenues, exercise, meditation, maintaining your connections. All
Right.
of those things become very, very, very important
Okay.
in terms of your mental health.
And just in general, you just seem like a very driven individual.
I am.
What drives you?
That's I just want to be excellent at what I do. I want to fully utilize my purpose. I want to fully do everything that I'm put here on this earth to do. That's really what drives me.
That is excellent. Now, with your firm competing against the big four, the Deloittes and the Ernst and Youngs and
PwC.
PwCs and what's the other one? KPMG, all of these big firms. How do you best align yourself to compete with these folks? Because, you're going after some of the same small businesses, same nonprofits and charities, etc. What sets you apart and what makes you successful when you compete against them?
Okay, so PwC and those people are not our competitors.
Okay.
They are, because they go
One day
after
they will be,
huge
though.
multinationals,
One day
right?
they will be.
But there are lots of other
Yes,
accounting firms within our space,
for
right?
sure.
And to be honest, everybody is capable, right? Everyone is capable. I think it boils down to service. And we are still working on service, because as you grow your firm, you realize that there are, service levels will fall off and all those kinds of things as you try to recalibrate. And so that's one of the things we're working on right now,
Right.
trying to deal with service, personalized service, developing a tight knit work group who are qualified. And also we're a diverse firm, and lots of people now are looking for diverse firms.
For sure. Now, just before we go, tell us how can someone reach you if in case they have some questions on some of this paperwork stuff that we talked about earlier, if they can set themselves up to possibly take advantage of some programs, or they just have some questions in general about taxes or otherwise, how can they reach your firm?
So the best way is info@gmscpa.ca. And everything that comes into that info email is dealt with.
All right, terrific. Mrs. Mikkel, we thank you so much for joining us this evening.
It was my pleasure.
Thank you so much. And to our viewers, we hope that we have provided an informative show. If you're thinking of starting a business, you can do it. If you're currently running a business, you can continue to be successful. And we know for sure that whatever you put your mind to, you can do it by using planning and strategy. So we thank GMS Professional Corporation for making Ms. Michael available this evening. And we thank you for tuning in to our program. We'll see you next week. Have a great week.
Officially download our free GBKM app from the App Store and the Google Play Store, okay? Now, what is the best thing about this app? Well, it is that you have all of the features from the website that is portable, in your hand, ready to use and ready to go. Now, I'm just gonna guide you through what we have available on our app right now. So here, this is the page where you can watch our live TV, our GBCam TV. You can watch live, enjoy the shows live. Now, if you go to our tabs, you can check out any shows you missed in the past shows tab, and that takes you to the past shows that have happened in the last week. And if you just scroll down, you can see those past shows in order, chronological order with their dates next to them as well. So if you've missed a show, no worries, just go to the past show tab and you can catch up on your favorite GBKM entertainment. Going back to our menus tab again, you can check out our upcoming shows so you do